Hello and welcome back to All Elite Spotlight. I'm your host TNT, and we are going to review tonight's episode of Collision for March 28th, 2026. And we had a consequential AEW Dynamite, a lot of big happenings there on that past Wednesday, and tonight for Collision. No big difference there either. So some important things that occurred, title defenses for sure, and then one unscheduled, unfortunate event that did occur. Hopefully nothing that will be too lasting, and I suppose we'll find out more about that as time goes on. But to get straight into business here, our opening match was a world title match. The women's world tag team titles were being defended for the first time by the new tag team champions, the Divine Dominion, the Colossal Lena Kross, and the Megasis Megan Bayne, taking on and defending against the inaugural tag team champions, the Babes of Wrath. Willow Nightingale, current TBS champion, and her partner, Harley Cameron. So, like I mentioned, this is the Divine Dominion's first title defense, and this is coming on the heels of the Babes of Wrath 95-day title reign, which came to an end at Revolution at the hands of the Divine Dominion. And the match started off pretty quickly, at least on the side of the Babes of Wrath. They came out like they had something to prove. They were all fire to begin with. Willow Nightingale matching strength with Megan Bayne. And when those two get in the ring together, they really do step things up a bit. And I like that dynamic between the two because they're both solid in-ring wrestlers. They both have that strength component in their game as well. And, they can both just go and neither of them back down when they're in there going one-on-one. And tonight was no different. There was a scary moment when Megan Bayne attempted a suicide dive outside to the floor, and a move that she usually hits without any issues whatsoever. Unfortunately, we all know wrestling can be dangerous and anything can happen on any night. Her feet got caught up in the ropes and she landed pretty awkwardly, almost head first really. But luckily she got back up to her feet and being the pro that she is, carried straight on, didn't miss a beat. And as far as anyone can tell, she seemed to be in good form. Finished the match, no issues that were apparent at all. So luckily dodged the bullet there. I'm sure we'll see her do that move again. It's a pretty basic part of her arsenal. Just unfortunate that it didn't work out for her tonight. But the match itself continued, as I mentioned, and it was a really good match. So I preferred this match. I liked it better than their first battle back at Revolution, which was good too, but it was telling more a story of Willow Nightingale having to pull double duty and having that shoulder injury. This one was more evenly matched and they were going head to head. In this matchup, Willow took a lot of the heat, so she took a lot of the beating throughout the match. Harley Cameron actually ended up getting the hot tag, and she did very well, actually. She's come along a pretty good way as a in-ring performer, and she held her own in there, and I can't really put anything negative on her performance. I'm a fan of her anyway. I think she's got a lot of that natural charisma and athleticism, and she's really started to put it together. So we'll see where she goes moving forward, because at the end of the day, this was a highly entertaining match, a highly competitive match. There was really a moment where the crowd thought that the Babes of Wrath were going to pull it out and become tag team champions again. They had the champions each in a single leg Boston Crab, and the fans were really going for it. They were going wild, but Megan Bayne, the legal competitor, reached the rope. They separated Harley Cameron by getting Willow out of the ring, hit her with that double choke slam, the divine intervention, and that was all she wrote. That was a 3 counts. First title defense successful for the Divine Dominion, and they will be moving on to whoever will be challenging them next, no longer the Babes of Wrath. And we'll see later on the Babes of Wrath will make an appearance backstage and talk about their future. And I guess we could just go there now. Later on in the night, there was a backstage promo with the Babes of Wrath, and they were just reminiscing about, how far they'd come, winning the tag team championships in the tournament. At first, Harley was saying it was all her fault, but Willow was like, hey, we gave it our all until it wasn't enough, and basically stated that they will be going their own ways, and that will be the end of the Babes of Wrath. Not that they wouldn't be talking to each other anymore, but it was time for them to each go on and focus on other things, was the direct quote. Harley Cameron suggesting that Willow will go ahead and should focus on her TBS title, which is what I was suggesting in my preview for Collision, the video that I posted earlier this week. And that looks like that will happen because the TBS title does need some love and attention and a higher focus put on it. And I guess for Harley, poor Harley, she was like, for her, she'll go wherever the wind takes me, was her direct quote. So we'll see where that road ends for Harley Cameron. Hey, maybe she will be a challenger for the TBS title. That I think that would be a nice wrinkle in their tale as well. So that's what I'm going to look for. Hopefully they'll put that in there somehow, some way. But moving forward, and thank you to the Babes of Wrath. They were a great team. Great first women's tag team champions. May the tag team rest in peace. Moving on, there was a backstage promo from the Brawling Birds. They were supposed to have a tag match, but surprise, they're going to team up with Mina. So the Brawling Birds will actually be teaming up with Mina Shirakawa. They did not like how Mina lost via those brass knuckle shots to the head against when she faced Tekla. So it's going to be the 3 of them, and they're going to take on any other women's trio that wants to step up and battle them later on in the night. There we had a quick singles match. We had Myron Reed in a singles match against Johnny TV. So the Rascals came out with Myron, and Mansoor and Mason MXM came out with Johnny TV. This was just a quick match. Got to highlight Myron Reed, I believe his first singles match on AEW TV, and he got a win. Wasn't much of a lengthy match or anything, but it did give Myron Reed some TV time, because usually who you're seeing on AEW TV are his partners Zach Wentz and Desmond Xavier. So it was good for him. We got to see some of his unique offense. I've always been a huge fan of Johnny TV ever since his time way back when. Followed him throughout multiple promotions, and it's always good to still see him doing his thing. But in the end, a quick little matchup ended with Johnny missing his Starship Pain and Myron Reed hitting his springboard off the top, springboard 450, 3 count, and Myron Reed with the win. Nothing too complicated. There we had another backstage promo, this one with the Death Riders. We have John Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli. And they are talking about Private Party, who they will be facing later on in the night. And basically just talking about, they've been hurt, they came back, they were able to win that $200,000, but that's not going to buy them a heart or the desire, the will to be who they should be. Those were Mox's word. Daniel Garcia was more along the lines of, hey, they used to be my best friends. They used to hang out a lot. They used to do a lot of those BTE videos on YouTube as well. I used to enjoy the stuff that they would do on those clips and those videos. But yeah, no longer. So Daniel Garcia, as we know, has changed drastically since those days, the past year, and now he's looking to make an example of Private Party when he faces them in the ring. Um, we get a response from Private Party in another backstage promo, and they're basically saying that the Death Riders are an opportunity to them. They're going to turn the Death Riders' chaos into opportunity. And from there, we go straight into the tag match of the Death Riders, made up of Jon Moxley, Continental Champion, and Daniel Garcia in their corner with former CMLL World Heavyweight Champion Claudio Castagnoli, and they're going up against Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Quinn. So what was good was they showed some history here, just showing that, during the Death Riders, when they were running roughshod over the entire AEW, it was Private Party and Daniel Garcia who were standing up against the Death Riders, before like Orange Cassidy and then Darby Allin got involved as well. They even showed where Moxley smashed Zay's hand with a hammer that over a year ago. So this match started with Daniel Garcia really just out wrestling Isaiah Cassidy in the opening minutes. Just a lot of chain wrestling and Daniel Garcia getting the upper hand repeatedly until, he got Mox into the ring. Mox was encouraging those shots and chops, like he tends to sometimes, to see what the opponent's got. Then he answers back with his own shots and overpowers them. So that was kind of the story of this matchup. The Death Riders controlled 95% of the match, just holding down Private Party. That there wasn't much they could do in terms of offense that would actually give them a foothold at any point in the match, until they got later deeper towards the end, where Zay was able to get a hot tag, hit a couple high spots, doing a top rope springboard moonsault on the outside, landing on his feet real smooth, hitting a swanton bomb on Daniel Garcia in the ring. From there they flowed into classic Private Party maneuvers, like hitting the silly string, and the comeback was in full effect there. Zay hit his 450 from the top, close 2 count, and the crowd was back into it. There were, like I said, full comeback in effect for Private Party. Unfortunately, though, Daniel Garcia, he was slick. He threw Mark Quinn to the outside really quick, and Claudio was lying in wait, hit a running European uppercut, and that took Mark Quinn out of the match. Now Zay was isolated. He ended up getting caught into a Dragon Tamer dead smack in the middle of the ring, and he, did the old tap out, and that was that. So really good, entertaining match. It was good to see some history between Private Party and Daniel Garcia, the Death Riders as well. Just seeing how those dynamics between those 4 people and that friendship between Garcia and Private Party, and now his alliance with the Death Riders. It was just some nice storytelling, and I think storytelling was really good throughout the night in all of the matches. Everything just was really tight and flowed really well, particularly in the matches. I think each one told a distinct story, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that about AEW in particular. This match, no different. Really good match. Enjoyed it top to bottom. Death Riders really showing their dominance. Private Party having the ability to, fight, but hey, maybe they do need to listen and they need to find another gear because as the Death Riders were able to show what they're doing just is not enough if they're trying to get back on top in the tag team division and regain tag team glory and gold. From there, we had a backstage promo, The Demand. So apparently doing the Ring of Honor show, Kenny issued a challenge to The Demand. So he wants to face them. And he's got Kenny, that is, as Brody King, and Jack Perry as his backup, his trio. And The Demand accepted. So it will be The Demand, Ricochet, and the Gates of Agony going up against Kenny, Brody, and Jack Perry on this week's Dynamite. So that should be a pretty darn good match, actually. And definitely looking forward to that. Not much else to say there. It's just another blockbuster match to look out for this Wednesday. From there, we're going to a trios tag match. So we have Mina Shirakawa and the Brawling Birds, Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor, who is, by the way, the New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Strong Champion. And they're going up against some local wrestlers, Nikki XS, Amina Belmont, and Haven Harris. And as you could expect, this was just a quick squash match, basically, able to showcase a couple of the Brawling Birds' tag team maneuvers, their double team maneuvers. Mina got to hit a couple of her shots as well, but basically it was a setup for the 2 birds, 1 stone Brawling Birds finish, and then a figure 4 by Mina Shirakawa, all applied to Nikki XS, who had a pretty good look. I liked her persona, and she tapped out. That was the end of the match, which set up the main angle for that trio. They had a quick in-ring promo where, Mina's upset and over what happened to Tony, and the Brawling Birds are not happy with, how Mina's match went down when she faced Tekla. And as they're talking about Tekla, out comes the Triangle of Madness. So AEW Women's World Champion Tekla and the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue. So they're out in the crowd. Tekla, coming out with her no, nien, niet, nah, all that stuff, which, I love for her. That's, it always cracks me up, and the fans seem to dig it as well. Then from there, she's just being a total disrespectful self. She's talking about Tony Storm's cold corpse, basically disrespecting and disregarding the Brawling Birds, Mina, and anybody else that thinks they might be competition, because she really doesn't see anyone in that women's division as competition for the Triangle of Madness. Mina's had enough. She lays out a challenge for next Dynamite, a trios match between the Triangle of Madness and the Brawling Birds and herself, and that match is made official. We'll be seeing that on Dynamite. So another big trios match for Wednesday night. From there, we get a backstage promo. This one is involving the Don Callis family, particularly Kyle Fletcher, TNT champion, Mark Davis, and Kazuchika Okada. Basically starts off with Fletcher saying he's not a fan of working with or for MJF, with that whole briefcase of money and doing his bidding. So, that would make Kyle Fletcher and Andrade not too happy with that whole situation. Fletcher also saying that he would like to be going after the world title rather than working alongside it. So very interesting. We also had him saying that tonight was going to be about revenge for losing those trios titles to Jet Speed, Speedball, and Mystico. And it's also going to be revenge for Josh Alexander getting injured this past week. Then Okada brought up that, he's not happy with what he saw last Collision when Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher were talking about Protoshida. He said it did not make him happy, and that he is wanting Okada to get back the World Tag Team titles. Kyle Fletcher appeared to be happy with that comment, saying, yeah, they can definitely try and run it back and be World Tag Team World Tag Team Champions. Then Kyle Fletcher reiterated that after tonight, it is his plan to focus on the world title. So great news for him until, as we'll see later on in the night, potentially not so great news for him. But up next was a singles match, probably my favorite match of the night, to be honest. This was Tommaso Ciampa going up against Ace Austin. I'm sure, just getting these competitors closer to the TNT title, particularly the winner of the match. And it was just great seeing that Ciampa is in matches that matters again, that his career is on the right track, and he's just in a place that respects him and his ability, and it's just good to see that again. Ace throughout the match was trying to use his speed and athleticism, but what I really liked about the story they were telling in this match, like I mentioned before, throughout the show, all these matches telling their own stories, not just, moves for the sake of moves or all following the same formula. This match was really highlighted that storytelling for me. So in this match, Ace Austin, like I said, trying to use his speed and athleticism, but Ciampa's using his technique, his ring savvy, his experience to counter and just control the match. Basically throughout it, every time Ace is trying something different, something flashy, he might get a move in, maybe two, but Ciampa is really quick to cut him off and go back to being slow and methodical and punishing him, really just keeping complete control of the match, kind of like the Death Riders did in their match against Private Party. Ace Austin, every match, you're getting a good match out of him. He has great fire in him. He's got great athleticism. He's just a really good competitor and in-ring wrestler. Ace finally did break through with this wicked gut-wrench powerbomb. It seemed like he was going to get some momentum, but again, not enough, because Ciampa is able to one-up him, hits him with that move that he hits, the Project Ciampa, one-ups that gut-wrench powerbomb and hits him with the running powerbomb onto his own knees. Wicked match, and it was just a story of the match. Ciampa controlling Ace and not letting him string together too many consecutive moves. At one point, Ciampa hits Ace with a Psycho Drilla from up on the top rope. That wasn't enough. Ace is starting to fire back, but again, story continues. Ciampa is able to slow that down, cut it off, regain control, ends up hitting him with that wicked running knee of his, and 1, 2, 3, end of the match. Tommaso Ciampa, according to Tony Schiavone, is now 5-1 on Collision, and Juice Robinson comes out to attend to Ace. Ciampa sees an opportunity to sneak attack him. He wants to hit that running knee from behind, but Juice catches onto him, and Ciampa just puts up his hands, leaves peacefully. No harm, no foul. But great win for Ciampa. I would give that my match of the night just for storytelling and just a great wrestling match. From there, we have a backstage promo. We've got the Rascals. They're talking about wanting to get closer to the tag titles, and they can do that. Tonight's a big opportunity. They just need to beat Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis to inch even closer towards tag team glory. We get another backstage promo again. This is the one I mentioned with the Babes of Wrath. I won't go into it again. We'll just see what is in line for Harley in the future. Like I said, I would like to actually see her get a shot or work her way into getting a shot for the TBS title and how that can play out. From here, we have that tag match that's been hinted at throughout the night. We've got the Don Callis family, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, going against the Rascals, Desmond Xavier, and Zach Wentz, with Myron Reed in their corner. No Don Callis on commentary or in the building, what a wonderful thing. And it was good to see the old Aussie Open. And I had just thinking to myself as I watched this match, I was like, wow, is Kyle Fletcher ever going to grow his hair out again? Just a random thought that popped into my mind since, it was a throwback to the Aussie Open. Another thought I had, Zach Wentz, is doing the Bronco Buster on Mark Davis in the corner. And I was just like, this is one of my least favorite wrestling moves ever. What do you guys think? Y'all like the Bronco Buster? I've never liked it. Never liked it when X-Pac did it, and I just don't like it. Especially when a guy like Mark Davis has to sit there and take it. But anyway, it was a solid match, of course, but the main issue was it was kind of cut short because Kyle Fletcher apparently injured himself, which would really stink if it's serious because he's been talking about the world title. And I know a lot of AEW wrestlers are talking about focusing on that world title, which is great and I love. But I think it coming from Kyle Fletcher carries a little weight too when he's saying he wants to target it, especially since he's the TNT champion also. So hoping for the best for him. It looks like it happened when him and Mark Davis, they each had one of the Rascals and they were facing each other and did a double fallaway slam. Looks like Kyle was a little too close to Mark Davis and he wasn't able to extend his leg out and left leg got caught under his own weight. He fell back and twisted it a little bit. Hopefully nothing got torn. Hopefully it's just a tweak and he'll be okay. He tried to continue the match for a little bit. They went to commercial break. Then, they figured out what to do, what to end it. It just ended with a quick, Kyle Fletcher was actually the legal man. So Davis carried on for his own for a bit. And then Kyle rolled in. Mark Davis stepped out, did a quick tag, grabbed Desmond Xavier, hit him with that awesome dunk stiller pile driver, 1, 2, 3, end of the match. Fletcher came in, posed with his title, hands raised, hugged Mark Davis. They said a little something to each other. Then they went out the ring, Mark Davis up the ramp, and Kyle Fletcher towards the back on the floor. So I'm sure we'll get more info on that as it's available. Just hoping that Kyle Fletcher, for his sake and for AEW's sake, is okay and doesn't have to miss any significant time or it doesn't require surgery or anything like that. But tough break. Hate to see it. From there, we had a string of 3 backstage promos. We had Ricochet and Don Callis just talking about Ricochet and the Demands match against Kenny Omega and Brody and Jack Perry on Wednesday. Don Callis saying, he'll be happy to cash him in on some of that MJF money. We also had a promo with Kevin Knight. He's just talking about 2026 being the year of the Jet, and he's saying he's a 2-time trio champ now. He already has a win over Okada. He had MJF, pinned for 13 seconds while the ref was out during that title match. He's just focused on not being cocky. He's just confident, and this is going to be his year, and he's going to take the international title at this Collision. We'll see. Oh, we did see. Backstage promo again. Death Riders. We got Mox, Claudio, and Daniel Garcia. Mox mentioned that Private Party's banged up pretty bad and won't be seeing them soon. I hope that's just, Death Rider talk and not something that happened, seriously to where they may not be on TV again for an extended period. But he did then transition over to Will Ospreay, just pointing out, what did you think would happen in an unsanctioned cage match, which was, Will Ospreay's last match before he had to leave due to his neck surgery and all of that. And that is an honest statement. So, storyline wise, Mox isn't lying. But we'll see what happens. Will Ospreay is set to face Pac at Dynamite. And of course, we all know Mox is facing Will Ospreay at Dynasty. So we go on to our main event. It's the international title match. Kevin Knight going against the champion, Kazuchika Okada. And as I mentioned earlier before, no Don Callis. So started off with a lot of gamesmanship by both. They each teased their drop kicks. Okada, best drop kick in the world as it's licensed and promoted. And Kevin Knight, having one that's right up there, right? If you're watching and paying attention. So I really liked the storytelling in this match as well. It really just showed Okada as that ring general that he is. He was dictating the pace for the entirety of the match, keeping things slow, going out the ring when he needed to, just interacting with the crowd and steadily frustrating and upsetting Kevin Knight till, he would slip up, make a mistake, and Okada's in control, physically grinding him down. He was absorbing Kevin Knight's chops, just looking real strong, real powerful. Eventually, it did bubble up, right? And we got to the point of the match where Kevin Knight now is exploding, and he's finally able to speed up the match and hit a couple of his big moves like he likes. But again, to follow the story of the night, Okada regains control, slows things down. He's keeping the match under his firm control, dictating the pace like only he can. Now, eventually, Kevin Knight does hit his beautiful dropkick, and it is beautiful, so he's the first to do it. He does counter Rainmaker with a jumping DDT, but eventually, like I'm saying, the story continues, and Okada's back in control and is able to eventually hit his own dropkick. And, he who dropkicks last, dropkicks hardest. And there was more control again by Okada. From there, we had Kevin Knight, eventually towards the end of the match, getting that energy again, getting the energy of the match back up. It's a huge springboard clothesline from the inside to the floor. Covered a lot of distance, looked beautiful. And hits Okada. Follows it up by throwing Okada in the ring, hitting springboard clothesline again. Hits coast to coast, close, 2 count. Excellent. Goes for the UFO splash. Okada slowly, Orange Cassidy-esque, does a slow couple rolls, goes past halfway point. Kevin Knight teases that he's too far, he's getting down. The fans love when he climbs back up, and he's going to go for the UFO splash for over half the distance, right? And he does it. He gets up there, gets over there, but catches a nasty counter. The knees are up. Looked brutal, both for Kevin Knight and Okada's legs. And is that going to do it? Okada sets him up for the Rainmaker. Countered into Schoolboy. 1-2. Another roll up. 1-2. Another roll up. Up. Countered. Okada sitting on him. Ropes right in reach. Grabs on. 1-2-3. With the help of the rope and a dirty pin, Okada retains the International Championship, and we get to watch Kevin Knight dispute it with the ref, but it does no good, obviously, and that's how the night ends. Okada victorious, holding up his international title. Great match. That would be runner-up to match of the night, but if anybody made that their match of the night, I wouldn't put up too much argument or fight, because again, it was excellent storytelling, and Okada really did a great job, as did Kevin Knight, and maybe 2026 will be his year. He's definitely had a great start, world title challenge against MJF, and international title challenge against Okada. I mean, that's a great 3 months of the year to start with, so can't be disappointed with that. We'll see what's on the horizon for him. We'll see, again, big news, biggest news of the night, really. Besides the two successful title defenses, that being one, the Women's World Tag titles with the Divine Dominion, and then Kazuchika Okada's international title. Besides that, the big news of the night was Kyle Fletcher's potential injury. So again, hoping for the best, and we'll find out as the days go by. But let me know what you all thought about this week's Collision in the comments. I, of course, enjoyed it. I gave you my match of the night. Let me know what you thought was the match of the night, and what you think about Kyle Fletcher's match, what you're hoping to see go down for the TNT title. If Kyle Fletcher's unfortunately hurt, I don't know. Hopefully that's not the case. But I think that's where we will leave it. Go ahead. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And I will be talking to each of you soon. Thank you again. Have yourselves a good rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this. And take care. Talk to you soon.